Hannah from BeautyGirlsMom.com.
And I'm Jim from Left Wing Libertarian.
How are you?
I'm super. Thanks for asking.
We gotta do this quick today because we have to get ready for Thanksgiving.
No, we don't. We have all the time in the world. While you were at work today, I made, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Close your eyes.
Close my eyes.
Ta-da! The world's greatest cheese tray.
Well, that was very nice of you to make a cheese tray.
Ta-da! The world's greatest cheese tray.
I'm not sure about the world's greatest.
It's got a Mickey Mouse thing.
It does, and that definitely makes it better than your ordinary cheese tray.
It's got a variety of cheeses. It's got grapes, and it's got those things that they sell at the store, festive holiday flavored crackers.
It has all of that stuff.
Oh, and I also put nuts on there.
Don't forget, yes, you have nuts on there too. It looks wonderful. It looks delicious.
It's colorful. I've got the blacks, the greens, the orangey yellows, the whites. I don't know what cows these come from, but they're different kinds of cheese.
Well, it's a lovely cheese tray. There's a few things wrong with this cheese tray. I don't know if you know this.
If you critique me too harshly, I will never do it again.
I know. So I'm treading in very dangerous waters.
And it's freezing outside, so it's thin ice.
It is, yes. I will say, very first thing that I noticed is you put grapes on this cheese tray.
Don't you always have grapes with cheese?
Well, that is kind of the expected, to put grapes on a cheese tray. However, we are serving this to our guests before Thanksgiving dinner. And generally on a Thanksgiving dinner, you have a lot of heavy foods. And you want to start with the more savory cheeses. Like your New York cheddar here is a nice savory cheese. Or this Holland smoked cheese is a nice savory cheese. The grapes, while they look very nice on the tray, and I'm still chewing.
Well, wait, the grapes actually go with the wine that I picked out, because the grapes come from wine. So I thought if you put wine out, hold on, let me get a glass of this. As you can see.
Yes, you can see. Yeah, so if you're serving cheese before dinner, as a before dinner course or as appetizers before dinner, you want to avoid sweet on the plate. So the grapes that you have here are very sweet. You have a beautiful white Stilton with cranberries, which is a delicious cheese. However, again, it's a very sweet cheese. So it's not something that you would want to put on the table before your guests have eaten dinner.
Well,
Those are things you reserve.
You're talking way too much, because when I go to the cheese store, there's only two sections of the cheese store. There's the kind where you get a number and they slice it. And then there's the kind where there's packages and you just pick out what looks colorful.
Well, if you've ever gone to the cheese section of a nice grocery store.
With the number or without?
Without the number. That's the deli counter. If we're making hoagies, that cheese is fine.
Okay. But this comes from not the number.
This comes from not the number. This comes from the cheese department at Wegmans.
It sounds stupid, but a guy actually asked that in the store.
Some supermarkets don't have cheese departments. They have just like the Cracker Barrel cheeses or whatever in the dairy section.
Yeah, the blocks, like 1 pound blocks and 3 pound blocks.
But we're fortunate enough at Wegmans that we do have a cheesemonger. We have cheesemongers at Wegmans. Did you know that? They are there for you to ask questions so that this doesn't happen again. If you ask them which cheeses work well together or which cheeses you serve before dinner or after dinner, this whole disaster could have been avoided.
Well, they sell stuff that looks like this for like $10 and $20, $30 on a plate. It looks like it.
You'll notice they do. Wegmans will have pre-sliced, pre-ready-to-go cheese platters. Almost always you will find...
And Whole Foods down the street has the same thing.
Almost always you will find nuts. Sometimes you will find currants, depending on the selection. You will never find grapes. Grapes, if you eat a grape,
I didn't clean them before I put them on the tray.
I can tell. So if you eat a grape,
I didn't know if you had to or not, so I figured why ruin it.
It has a taste. That taste stays in your mouth. That taste is going to compete with all of the cheeses that you then eat. So grapes and cheese are not necessarily the best pairing. If you're doing a dessert cheese platter or something that you're going to serve after dinner, you can put them on there. It's a nice garnish, and the kids will eat them even if they don't like the cheeses. But you don't want to mix the sweet cheeses and the sweet fruits or the sweet currants with the more savory cheeses. Ask your cheesemonger. at Wegmans or at your local cheese store.
Now, I know how cheese is made because I've seen many cheese documentaries. And I've also requested on one of our family drives across country, we actually go to a cheese manufacturer and do one of those where you're at the tour and you do the stirring and the curds and stuff to make the cheese. And conveniently, for some reason, that's always been dropped off of our trip. But I understand that cheese is made from cow milk, so it's moo cheese, or goat's milk, so it's goat cheese, or sheep's milk, in which case it's sheep's head cheese. What?
It's not sheep's head cheese.
Oh, okay.
But you bring up a good point. And some people like to do that. If you want to put out a cheese tray, put out all cow's milk cheeses. Put out all goat's milk cheeses.
Does it actually say that on the label, though?
It will tell you on the label. Well, it doesn't always say cow's milk. Almost always says goat's milk. Almost always says if it's sheep's milk. But you know where it says it? If you go to a good cheese section, or if you talk to the cheesemonger, they usually have little tags in the cheese department that will say cow's milk cheeses, goat's milk cheeses, sheep's milk cheeses. Some people put a variety. You don't want your cheese tray jam-packed like this. 3 cheeses is plenty to put out 3 varieties. 4 if you have a huge crowd. Otherwise, you're just overwhelming someone's palate with this. But you can opt for a cow's milk, a sheep's milk, and a goat's milk cheese.
Okay.
You can do a theme, like all cheeses from the United Kingdom, all cheeses from the United States, all French cheeses. You can do it that way. You could even do it with all soft cheeses. You know, like you have a Havarti here, which is a soft cheese. One of my favorites. Crumbly. I don't know why. But you can also do all soft cheeses. Another thing that you did wrong, crackers.
I got those. Those aren't crackers. Those are holiday dessert cracker assortment. They were in a box. They had holiday colors around it, and it had a variety and assortment of crackers. And this is the holiday season, so those aren't crackers. Those are holiday assortment crackers.
Well,
because that ups the I'll have to hold up my pinky. That ups the caliber of this cheese platter.
you would think.
Well, yeah, because that's what the box says.
Yeah, that's what the box says. But you know what? This cracker is a flavored cracker. It's like onion flavored. It's an onion flavored cracker. So when I put this with my Havarti cheese, now I don't have Havarti cheese. I have onion flavored Havarti cheese. Which brings me to another thing. And you'll find this in good cheese stores too. Ranch flavored cheese, buffalo flavored cheese, and a kind of flavoring in your cheeses.
Well, the cheesemongers you mentioned have given those away at samples.
They have given them away at samples, and you can find them in the cheese departments. Mm-hmm. You don't want those cheeses on a cheese plate. They're fun once in a while. You know, the buffalo cheese dip, certainly a very nice addition to a snack table if you're having, a football party or something. But if you want to put out a nice cheese tray, cheese doesn't come out of a cow tasting like ranch dressing. It doesn't come out of the cow tasting like buffalo chicken. So you want to avoid that. All it does is it dilutes the flavor of the cheeses, the actual flavor of the cheeses. You know what you did right though, besides the Mickey knife?
I brought it here for spouse credit.
Almonds. Almonds go with almost every cheese tray. You can put almonds on a platter every time. It doesn't linger in your mouth. It doesn't leave a flavor for a very long time.
So you're saying don't get the flavored almonds, just get
Don't get
roasted
barbecue flavored almonds or something weird. But an almond you can pop in your mouth and be ready to eat a slice of cheese. Another thing that you could put on a cheese tray if you're serving it afterwards that you would not put on a cheese tray before dinner, some of the jams or jellies or the sweet relishes like an onion relish or something. Those are things that you would put on a dessert cheese tray that we would serve after the meal.
Okay. So really, I have a variety of cheeses and they look pretty. So you're kind of making it sound like this food tray should be more about taste and not just what looks pretty.
That's exactly right. You don't want your guests' palates to be confused. You want each cheese to be a star on the plate, so you don't want it too crowded. And you don't want to confuse flavors by adding things like onion crackers or crackers that have sesame seeds. You don't want sweet with savory. You want to kind of separate the sweetness like the Stilton, the grape garnish, you want to kind of put that on a dessert cheese tray. And you want to avoid something that smells really strong or has a really strong flavor, like this smoked cheese, which is one of my favorites. I think I just really like cheese. With a mild cheese like a Havarti, because that's going to kind of absorb that smokiness and it'll detract from the taste of the Havarti.
Well, how soon until the guests arrive should I cut the cheese?
I don't even believe that you said that. However,
it's written on the teleprompter by the kids in front of me.
I'm sure it is. Your cheese can be sliced before your guests arrive. You don't want to serve cheese cold. You want to serve it at room temperature. But you don't also want to leave it out for a long time because it gets funky around the edges. Doesn't look good, and it's not going to taste good. So I would leave it out of the refrigerator until it comes to room temperature, about 20-30 minutes before your guests arrive, and then serve it right away.
Yeah, it doesn't take very long to cut it. I mean, you just grab a knife and just make a few cuts and then cross it down and you're done. So
you could also serve this with sweet or savory, whichever way you go. Sliced baguette. You could serve
I get those at the bakery. The woman's name is Marie.
Is it Marie?
Yeah, you just yell for her. Marie, baguette.
Yes. Hunks of sourdough bread. You can always put a little honey with a sweet cheese tray, a dessert cheese tray. Some raw honey is very, very good. But yeah, you did a really good job. You did something.
Yeah, but that's
a really good job.
Yeah, it's better than sitting at my desk doing nothing.
It is. So do we know everything we need to know about cheeses?
So it sounds like what you're saying is that I need to either go to Wegmans or over to Whole Foods, and just like we know the name of our butcher, Ralph, I need to learn the name of somebody in the cheese department and be able to walk up to them and say, I'm doing a party, I need a French selection, or I need Irish cheese.
You don't even have to say that. You could just tell them what you're having for dinner and they can make recommendations. Or they might tell you, if you're having an Italian dinner, you want to do Italian cheeses. If you're having sort of a French spin, if you're having a wine party, they could even tell you, well, what kind of wine do you like? Let me tell you what cheeses are going to go with that wine. Again, you have sweeter wines that will go better with some of the sweeter cheeses like the Stiltons. Another thing you don't want to do, and you see it this time of year everywhere, you'll see the brie cheese that's crusted with the pecans and the candied fruits and all the other stuff. Don't do it. If you want brie cheese, you want it because it tastes like brie cheese. Do you want candied almonds and candied fruit? Have that instead, but don't mix the two. It's not the best treatment of a cheese. Treat your cheese kindly.
Okay.
That's basically what I'm saying.
And if given the chance, go to a cheese factory and actually participate in making the cheese.
You could do that.
Yeah. With your family.
With your whole family. Just bring the whole gang out to Wisconsin.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
That's everything you ever needed to know about cheese and how to serve it for your party. I am Anna from BeautyGirlsMom.com. If you want more fabulous tips for your dinner parties or your trips to Disney, don't forget to subscribe to the videos. And we will see you real soon.
See you real soon.